Now, my family came down because they missed me, and I missed them so much that when they got in the car to go home, I got in the car with them. And you ain't leaving me here, I said. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going home. You want to stay here, you want to go, you do whatever you want to do, but I'm going home. So he got in the car too. And left the trailer, left just some, isn't it ridiculous, the irresponsible things we do when we're young? Good grief. As long as we learn from them, you know. But anyway, so we came back to Lima. I went right back to work in fitness immediately. Plus, I was working as a seafood clerk in a grocery store. The envy of all positions in the world, you know, smelling like stuff when you leave. I had, Chastity called them my mommy's stinky, fishy shoes, because I had one pair of shoes that I always wore, and you did sloshed around, and not the most glamorous job if you get what the picture that I'm painting. So I'm working as a seafood clerk, and I'm doing well, and I like going to work because I get to give to the customers. And you guys, have you found in life that when you give to someone else, you get back? No matter how blue you're feeling or how much of a failure you're feeling, when you give hope to somebody else, all of a sudden you walk away walking a little bit lighter. You can't motivate somebody else with being motivated yourself. Well, that's what I was doing. And the home life wasn't that good, but I was getting to go talk to people and give to them. So things were a little bit better. And I started feeling like I wanted to be more. I wanted to lead. I was doing well at the fitness club, but there wasn't any opportunity to grow the seafood shop, not to mention I probably didn't want to do that, you know. So I started looking at ads in the newspaper, and I found one. To this day, I can tell you what it said. It said, receptionist sales needed, weight loss center. I'd done that, right? So I went and I applied. It was Nutribolic Weight Reduction Systems. It was now 1985. And I'm sitting there, seafood clerk, remember, sitting there, and he says, you know, the owner, we're getting ready to open a location down in Sydney, which is a half hour from here. He goes, I'm looking for a manager. You seem like you could lead. You want to lead? Okay, after I picked myself up off the floor because I was so amazed. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. I didn't care about the drive. I didn't have to talk to the husband. I wanted it. So he hired me for manager. He just met me. Amazing. This is the greatest country in the world. So down we went, and we're hiring and we're ordering stuff and whatever you do. And I was doing my last interview. And the guy in the interview said to me, now you know, Donna, there have already been 2 other places that have opened up in the last 30 days in weight loss here in Sydney. So you'll be the 3rd one. Now, here's something you need to know about me. I have a loyalty streak this big. It's huge. I can't even stretch my arms that far. When I worked at Wendy's in high school, I would not go to McDonald's. It's just the way that I'm made. I don't, right, good, bad, indifferent, just who I am. That's how I'm made. So even though I didn't want to tell the owner what I had just learned in the interview, because I was afraid he was going to take it away, my loyalty to him said I had to. So I went to him and I said, Gary, you need to know 2 places in weight loss already opened in the last 30 days, but don't worry about it. I can do this. We're going to make it happen. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. And he said, no. He said, no, 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 no. He said, this is an already tiny pie, Don. And 2 pieces have already been taken out of it. Business talk, you know. It's all metaphors. It's already a tiny pie, and 2 pieces have been cut out of it. We don't want the small 3rd piece, so we're not going to do this. We'll go back to Lima, and you can work in Lima. Okay. Back we came to Lima, and I was a counselor. I sold, because in those days you did everything. And I really had found something I was good at. So I went to him about 30 days later, and I said, Gary, you said I could manage, and I want to manage. Look at my numbers. And he looked at my numbers, and he moved that manager out, and he moved me in. And in that year, you guys, we got known by the company on a first-name basis. We blew all the numbers away. Our team was tight. We were making money. I was feeling great about myself. And 1 year almost to the day that I started to work for him, I bought my first franchise. It was in Sydney, Ohio. I ended up owning the one that he was going to employ me in. Now, what I didn't tell you is that when I was a seafood clerk, I made about $6.50 an hour, which was, whoo, big stuff in 1985. You know, I was almost a member of the Meat Cutters Union, which would have been a real big accomplishment. And I came off of making that $6 an hour in the seafood shop. When I turned in my income in 1986 to the IRS, owning my first business, I turned in $90,000. Nice jump. Nice jump. For a girl who graduated after a year without a degree in college. Some people refer to it as quitting. Yeah, that would be me. So I get the hang of this, and I take some marketing techniques that, quite frankly, I have to give Kroger's credit for. Because we had done demos of the seafood shop. You know, you want to try some pickerel? You guys have seen them, right? It's on sale. Well, I had done that. So I went, why couldn't that work for this? So Kroger's was right across the street. I walked across the street. I went to the manager, and I said, look, I know you do this anyway. We're salespeople. We will do the demos for you. We'll take your overhead down because you won't have to pay people to do it. And it will take your gross up because we'll sell more pickerel. And we're going to give away a membership while we're here to get leads. We call them lives. So we went in. And thus became the birth of the marketing event, which we still teach to this day, only now we do it with charities and everything else you can think of. And we got leads. No cost. Nothing. Zero cost. We will teach you all kinds of no and low cost marketing ideas. And they all stem from, again, let's give credit where credit is due. They came from Kroger's. They came from me being a seafood clerk in the grocery store. So now I'm doing it, making lots of money, feeling great about myself, and watching people lose weight, watching their lives change. There's nothing in the world like somebody coming up to you, I mean, I can't even express it, taking you by the hands, looking you in the eye, and going, you've changed my life. I thought I was going to die. Everything looked like it was going to end, and there's nothing like that. And I got that fix again and again, day after day after day. It was amazing. Okay, then I got bored, because I did it for a year and a half. Now what I'm going to do? I need another one. Well, there was nothing available except 4 hours away from my home. That's one I'll have to own. So 4 hours away in Portsmouth, Ohio, the darned ugliest little river town there is in Ohio. Welfare level was high, unemployment level was through the roof. Everybody who was a franchisee of that company said, do not go to Portsmouth, you will fail. It was the only place left to go. So what did I do? I went to Portsmouth. Now what I didn't tell you is that when we grand opened Sydney, the locations at that time were grand opening around $17,000 a month. That was the one that held the record. We grand opened at $33,000. Year and a half later, when I went to Portsmouth, the industry was really taking hold now, and grand openings were up to, well, as a matter of fact, I believe the record holder was $60,000. We grand opened at $100,000 our first month, using marketing techniques and things like I'm telling you about that you're going to learn in this company. Now, I will not bore you with the rest of the story, except for the next part, and that is the third location was in Lima. The one that I'd originally been an employee in came up for sale. Now, by this time, I'm going through a divorce. I hate the term going through a very bad divorce. Who goes through a very good time divorce? Sorry, I'm going through a bad divorce. I was going through a divorce. It was time to, well, I reached the point where I knew I was going to have a mental breakdown if I did not get out of that relationship that I was in. And so I did. And I was going through this, and I was a mess, crying all the time, can't make decisions. And my phone rings, and it's the guy that owns the Lima location. And he goes, well, Don, I'm going to sell it. I thought I'd give you a right of first refusal. Do you want it? Oh, my God, I'm not in any shape to make a decision. He's not going to negotiate on the price. I know he's not, because I want it, and he knows it. So here's how I make a lot of my decisions, guys. You don't have to agree. I'm just sharing my heart and who I am this morning. I just prayed about it. Only there's a difference between praying about it and truly letting go of control of it. And I had just been crying and couldn't make a decision. I laid down and I said, God, I can't make this decision. You're going to have to make it. And you're going to have to tell me what to do, because I can't make it. I slept more soundly that night than I'd slept in a very long time. And when I woke up the next morning and my feet hit the floor, I knew what to do. When my feet hit the floor, the thought that went through my mind is, Donna, you have two of these things. You have people that can come here and they can help you. You live in Lima, for heaven's sake. This is your town. I mean, it was just so, of course this is what I should do. Well, that location had been doing $12,000 a month. When we took it over in 1 month, it did $42,000. And I'm only throwing numbers at you guys so that you understand we know what we're doing. We really do. We're good at this. Now, I ended up with 8 of those. And then I met a guy from the corporate office. We dated secretly. Because, you know, if it didn't work out, nobody wanted to be embarrassed, right? Well, it worked out. So he went to the president of the company, and he said, I'm going to marry Donna. And the president of the company said, that's great, but you're a corporate executive and she's a franchisee. That's clearly a conflict of interest. So you'll need to decide if you want to work for me or marry her. He chose marry me. And that, along with other things, I knew it was time to get out. So I started selling my centers. And they sold very rapidly, which was an indication to me it was the right move, because they didn't sell rapidly at the time. Now we're looking at each other going, what are we going to do now? We looked at painting cars. We looked at those little corner candy stores and malls. We looked at dating services. We could all be sitting here right now talking about hooking people up. Looked at selling water.